We're delighted to have you here. We'd love you just to sit back, relax, bring your cuppa,
feel the
listen to the
refreshing of the
conversations
rain,
that we have.
fan the flames of fire, dive into my future.
Welcome to another episode of Conversations and Cuppas. I hope that you've got your cuppa. I have mine. Who else has got their cuppas? Show us your cuppas.
Got mine. Ashley's got a glass. What?
I'm making the most of the heat.
And Caroline, your cuppa?
I got my cuppa.
Yeah.
But I did think that you British girls might not be pleased, so I did bring what I had.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So
That's good.
turmeric and orange.
Okay.
Because I'm not sure if cuppas and a glass of water counts as a proper cuppa, really. I'm not too sure if that counts. But I'm not even sure if turmeric in a tea bag counts, to be completely honest.
What about orange and aniseed?
Well, orange and aniseed is maybe okay.
I would go as far as orange, full stop.
I know it sounds bad, but it tastes so good.
Really. I cannot imagine that combination tasting good.
Something you just have to experience, Caroline. You have to
Okay.
So today, as you might have gathered, there's myself, Anna Jensen, and then we have Caroline. Hi, Caroline.
Hello.
And
I must remember it's not just video.
yeah. And we are joined today by a friend of mine, Ashley Winter. The interesting thing about me saying that Ashley's a friend of mine, I sort of thought that I only met Ashley 3 years ago, perhaps, met her properly, but actually we met years and years ago at a church that my husband and I were involved in, and Ashley and her husband came down to help us with a Sunday morning worship session. So actually really quite amazing how small the world is. And here we are having a nice conversation and a cuppa. So settle in for the next 20 minutes or so. We're going to be chatting to Ashley, just getting to know her a little bit more, getting to know the story behind the story, and getting to know the actual story that she's just published. So as I say, grab your cuppas, settle in and enjoy the conversation. So Ashley, hi, it's nice to have you here.
Thank you so much for inviting.
Very nice to have you. Please introduce yourself. You've told us that you don't really like normal tea, and you don't even like snowball tea. You like turmeric tea. What else can you tell us about yourself? Where do you live? Where are you from?
Well, I also like coffee, but it has to be the cheap coffee, not the fancy stuff. If it smells like a cigarette, it's good. Good to go.
No, that's not.
I don't use a calculator. It's too rich. It's too much for me. But cheap out of a glass, like the instant stuff. That's good.
Gosh. Best you don't visit my house.
I won't tell you that I like red bush tea as well, Anna.
Oh gosh.
It's like, we don't want to shame people for their drink options, but really, Ashley, I think you're pushing us here.
From bad to worse. I'll move on.
Yes.
What do where I live? Is that what you want to know? In 2009, my husband and I, with our 3 boys, we immigrated from South Africa to South Wales, and we live in a little village outside of Swansea on the Gower coast.
Very nice.
In the south, which is so beautiful, and we feel very blessed to live in this part of the UK. I don't know if you've ever visited South Wales. I know you used to live here, Anna, didn't you?
I did. I lived there for about a year. A bit further west than you. I lived in Llanelli for a year. That was good, eh?
Yeah, well done.
Did you say you've been to North Wales?
Yeah, been on holiday. Yeah, it was lovely.
That's a good holiday
It
spot.
is very nice. And then North Wales we used to go to once a year for our holidays, actually. The spring bank holiday we used to drive from Sheffield all the way to Aberystwyth, I think, was where we used to go to. And we would enjoy a bit of a holiday by the beach. And we stayed in one of those mobile home type things and would walk down to the beach and met up with other friends. So yeah, I quite enjoy Wales, actually.
And Gower's the best, so you need to try Gower.
Yeah.
Come visit me.
Yeah. Yes, we need to come visit. So, what took you from South Africa to Wales?
So we came to church plant. My husband Grant, he got saved when he was 18, and he always felt that he'd be church planting in the UK. And I always felt that I would be married to a pastor one day. So I didn't have a place in mind, just the man. So that's how we so that was 2009. So we've been here for almost 17 years, almost. So yes, that's why we came, and it's going well.
It's kind of scary when 2009 is 17 years ago. It's kind of like, wait, what?
I know, I've tried to hang on to my accent, and apparently I've done well.
Yes, you have.
Nice and heavy.
Yep.
Yeah, well, you certainly don't sound Welsh. So.
Yeah.
But none of my family sound Welsh, because I think this area is quite English.
Oh, is it?
Even my boys don't sound.
So, Ashley, the big question, when South Africa and Wales are playing rugby, who do you support?
1 second. What have I got here? No, I'm wearing red, but actually it's green.
The South Africa jumper.
We try and go down here. They play in the Autumn Internationals. And that's really fun because we get to take our Welsh friends with. It wasn't fun when we were losing to Wales. That was not fun. But now it's very fun.
Yep. That must have been quite a while ago.
I know.
Wales were losing to Wales.
Yeah. It was bad. Yeah, that was quite traumatic.
Yeah, that is quite a thing, I have to say.
You enjoy your rugby, Caroline, hey?
I do, yes. Especially this year, it's kind of going a little bit better.
They're doing so well.
Yeah. So yeah, we're very excited for the weekends and waiting to see what happens next. But yeah, beating France, my goodness, never happens.
Hey.
Just not so staying very quiet in the corner.
Yes. You can support South Africa just now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just picked my side as to whoever's winning. Whatever the sport is, it's like, oh, I could go either or.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so besides rugby, what else do you enjoy, Ashley? Like, especially in terms of creativity and, is writing like your first love, or is it more of a chore, or, kind of, what does your creative journey look like?
So I think, like, I've heard people say that you're kind of one thing, and that one thing, well, not one thing, but one thing mainly, and that one thing is expressed in many ways. So I would consider myself a very creative person. That's like the one thing. You probably think the same about yourself, Anna, because I know you. But music is actually the thing that pumps through my veins. I've played piano since I was 6, and I've been in the church band since I was 14. That's quite a long time now. Don't want to say how long, but that's a long time. But music is amazing for me, and I feel like it's a God thing. Writing is a very close second, and I love the way writing challenges me in every way, which I really enjoy, because especially if you write suspense, you get challenged in your brain, you get challenged spiritually and emotionally if you're writing with faith, and then it's just everything. Hey, and when you finish a book, you feel like you have good. So I do love writing.
And now with music, have you written and played songs that you've written?
Not yet, Anna. And I feel a little frustrated about that. It's kind of on the shelf, and maybe the time is just not right. So yes, we'll see what happens in the future. I think it's just sitting there waiting.
Have you got a character who's a musician in any of your books?
Yes, I do have Jennifer, who has a rock star husband, and she's also a musician. I've got Gemma, who plays the piano and sings. Surprise, surprise. So yes, they're quite a few musicians.
Yeah, because you've written quite a lot of books, haven't you? How many have you got?
So I've just finished the first one.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I'm also quite shocked. I'm not sure how it happened.
Wow. So how long on average do you take to write, like those 21 books? How long has that taken?
Started in 2017. I was so homesick, and I found Marion Uckman's books, and I think she has one book, and I just devoured this book. And then I was just searching and searching to find more, and then I just couldn't find them. They may have existed, but I couldn't find them. And I was just like, this just took me out of my homesickness for a while and let me just pretend I was in South Africa. We didn't have money to go back. We were saving to buy a house, like desperately saving to buy a house. And this was a cheaper way to get my mind back there.
Yeah.
So when my mom found out, she was like, well, why don't you write them then? And I had, as a teenager, wanted to write a book. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll give it a go. And she was just so encouraging. It was probably horrific, but she was like, oh, this is amazing. I kept going because she was cheering me on. So that's 2017. So what is that now? That's 8 years.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
So would you write and complete like one book a year, or did you try and do sort of like rapid release style of kind of one book every couple of months?
I didn't really know what I was doing, but I was finishing a book every 4 to 6 weeks.
Wow.
I think I was neglecting everything in my life besides writing. And eventually my business, I was actually running quite a busy business at the time. And my husband was like, you need to focus on the business. We have to pay the bills. So unfortunately, I lost a lot of momentum when I had to go back to my photography. What was the question? Yeah, every 4 to 6 weeks. So I didn't really know what I was doing. But by the time I released book 1, I already had 3 ready.
Sure, that's
So
great.
they did come out very fast, and it is very effective if you can do it like that. Because they do follow on to each other to an extent, so the readers loved that part of it. And they all got hooked on. Yeah, so it did work very well.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because, it can be quite tempting to say that writing or songwriting or whatever needs to be the thing that pays the bills. But actually, sometimes it needs to be something else paying the bills, so that then there's kind of a more creative outlet that then doesn't have the burden of, as you say, having to pay off a house.
Yes, and I think that's what happened with photography, because it started as a hobby. And then became our main income source at one stage. I employed my husband, which was quite fun.
Brilliant.
But yeah, then eventually I did start not loving it so much. And I'm trying to find my love for it again. And I think it will come back. I think that just happens when you make your passion your income source.
Yeah.
So with you loving photography, do you take the photos for your covers, or are you getting them from somewhere else?
No, because I don't have the models, Carol. Okay. No, so I just buy the photos, but I do design them myself.
Yeah.
I know a bit about Photoshop, so it's really helped me.
Yeah.
Bit of a jack of all trades kind of person.
Yeah.
Creative trades, so it all ties in nicely to each other.
Yes, I think so. Yeah, it's quite helpful.
Yeah, that's really good. So what would you say to somebody who is, kind of wanting to maybe explore their creativity, but are not, maybe like you, they've got lots of different things that they could kind of dabble in. They could try a bit of music, or they could try a bit of writing, or they could do a bit of art, or kind of various different things. How would you say that you found which one was your first passion? So as you say, like music is kind of, that's the one that, well, makes your heart sing, kind of literally. But it's like, what would you say to someone if they came to you and said, I think that I've got a creative, I've got a bit of a creative streak, but how do I find which is the one that God wants me to pursue?
Well, I have, a cheat code for this, because I've had prophetic words over my life about music from when I was 6. So I never really had to wonder that, and I can feel it when I sing and play. I can feel God's presence on me. And that would be my litmus test, is, can you feel God's presence when you're doing it? Does it bring you joy? Is that story about that runner, what was his name, the charity?
Oh, Eric Liddell, yeah.
He was like, I feel God's presence when I run. And
Yeah.
I know I just have to run. And that doesn't mean that I don't feel it when I'm writing. I also do love writing, and I've loved it from a teenager as well. So that's what I'd say, is, where do where do you feel God's presence the most when you're doing it? And you'll probably find that that thing brings you joy as well, yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really good. And then Caroline, when you lived in the Netherlands, did you find a similar thing, that you kind of wanted some way to reconnect to home while you were living there?
No,
Did
not
you
really.
write books?
No, not then. I was working in marketing at the time, and I think I hadn't even thought about writing at that point. I was just about getting a job. My degree's in marketing and economics, so I was wanting to work in something along those lines. But I think for me, when we were living in the Netherlands, when we'd left Scotland, it was very much everyone was white Scottish and we'd all lived here for generations. And then going to the Netherlands, my big thing there was discovering the world
Yeah.
because there was people from so many different countries in my work, but also the church we went to was a big international church as well. And yeah, it just fed my people thing of finding out about different cultures and different people. So yeah, might make its way into a book at some point, but that was not my outlook at that point in time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting how creativity can be so many different things, you know, that it can be a joy, but it can also be almost a form of, I don't know, I was reading today just about the role of lament, you know, and kind of just being able to find a way to communicate when things aren't going great and when things are a bit of a struggle, is that actually creativity can even help with that too.
Yeah. And I think because those things that we struggle with, so even just thinking of Ashley, like you were struggling with homesickness, so you start writing the books that help you feel connected back to South Africa, or if you're going through something, then you write about it because it's almost like your therapy. But it's also that thing, if you're struggling with it, then there's probably other people who are struggling with it, and so they need that story as well. Actually, definitely, I don't know your sales, but definitely looking at the number of reviews you have for books, you're obviously shifting a lot of books. So you're obviously resonating with lots of people.
I hope so. I think mostly South African readers, yeah, I think that they're enjoying reading something set in their own culture.
Yeah, because I know a few years ago we had our Around the World Reading Challenge, and
Oh, yeah.
that's where I first came across your books, and I absolutely loved your book. And I've actually just downloaded Deborah's Choice so I can get a bit of a South African rugby going on. I
Yay!
wonder why.
That book is one of my favorite books, and
Yeah.
it made me fall in love with rugby. I didn't love rugby before I wrote
Oh,
it,
really?
and
Wow,
after
that is so cool.
all yeah,
So yeah, I've got a few friends here who discovered you through that challenge as well, and then
Sure.
wanted to read the rest of your book. So yeah, it's not just South African people you're reaching with it as well. So that's so cool.
Oh, that's really good. And have you had feedback from people, Ash, where, you know, where people kind of say that resonates with me, or it's like from other South African expats who kind of read and just enjoy sort of being transported back home? Do you get that kind of, have you had that kind of feedback from readers?
not exactly in those words, but I do have quite a few in the UK who are very excited to get my books whenever they come out. So yeah, I'm sure they do feel that way. There's so many of us all over the world scattered
Yeah.
around and not in the position to go back and visit. It's quite
And that,
expensive to go.
that neatly brings us on to, what is the latest book that you have released that
Funny
your
you should
readers
ask.
are eagerly wanting to get their hands onto? Do tell us.
So this one has taken the longest of any book I've ever written, but I blame Anna for that because we had to pause for for our house, didn't we? In the middle of it. And because the plot is quite complicated, getting back in was quite a challenge. So I think it's taken me about 2 years to get to the end of this one. Anything
Sure.
for you? What wouldn't he do? And it's a romantic suspense, although I'd probably call it more of a, what's the word, a psychological suspense with romance. So it is for people who like mysteries and who aren't afraid of a little bit of grit. Yeah, some stuff happens in the past and it all comes out in the present, and it's just a big unwrapping of everything that's happened and everything that all the consequences of those things.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed writing it. My husband's just read it, and
Oh,
he
yeah.
enjoyed it. It's a good sign. And he did not figure out who the baddie was till right at the end, so that's
Ooh.
That's good.
I managed to fool them. So yeah, there were going to be two, but in this series, I might still get around to doing the other one, but we're going to be doing the next Our House, so that'll be my focus for
Yeah.
towards the
Yeah, so those
Yeah.
who aren't aware of the Our House stories, which is sort of how Caroline and I linked, and how Ashley and I linked, and how a whole load of other authors that you might get to meet over the next little while on the podcast here. Our House was a series that we started 3 years ago, 3 years ago, and set around the idea of the Madness song, Our House, in the middle of our street, and how each author took a different house and told the story of the people in the house, and then we connected and did a little bit of joint world building. So the first one, as we've mentioned, was set in England. Last year's one was set in Scotland, and then this year we're coming to South Africa. So that's quite exciting. We've got, I think, 14 or 15 authors, some based here in South Africa, some in the UK, some in the States. We've got one author from Australia. So when those books start launching, Caroline and I will definitely be chatting about those a little bit more, and maybe inviting some of the authors along to chat about their stories, to chat about their perspectives on living in community, which is kind of what the series is all about. And then Ashley, so as you say that the book now is like quite a gritty, you quite enjoy suspense and all of those kind of things. How do you almost square the circle, I suppose, that a lot of Christian fiction readers seem to quite enjoy, not an easy read, but maybe, like I know you and I have chatted before about me writing a suspense was one idea, and I was like, no, I couldn't possibly write about someone being murdered. I quite like reading that kind of stuff, but I could never write it. And so it's like, how do you, how do you reconcile that for some people, they wouldn't feel that suspense, or they wouldn't feel that psychological thriller or a mystery or something like that is the kind of thing that we should be talking about, or that we should be writing and reading, for people who really like Christian fiction, if you like.
I think for those people, they should probably stay away. There is a line, obviously, but I do get bored quite easily, and I need there to be a lot at stake. I need there to be a lot on the line. I need there to be mystery. If I'm going to stay hooked in a series, for me, if I'm reading something or even watching something. So it just brings in that extra element of the, the cerebral element of having to figure something out. And that's what I need in my own books that I read and shows that I watch. Otherwise, if it's just plain romance or just about the emotional stuff, or even if it's about a deep trauma that someone's working through, I will start losing the plot and get bored. So I need to figure something out. So I think that's the kind of people that I appeal to.
Yeah.
Especially now, because I didn't start out like this. I started out more sweet romance. So to warn you, Caroline, by book 3, stuff's happening.
Okay, that's cool. I'm okay. I quite like a bit of intrigue and psychological thriller. I just don't like anything that's gory or people getting like really hurt. But I like the kind of like, oh, what's going to happen next? So I'm good for that. But I think what's so interesting with that is sometimes you hear as well the whole thing about, oh, you have to write for the market. And that's something we've probably all heard in training courses and everything about writing. But to me, that just sounds really boring because I want to write the things that I'm interested in or things I see people need to be talking about. And so I find it much more exciting when you talk about it, Ashley, and you're talking about you want to write the thing that you want to be reading because that's what excites you and keeps you interested. And yeah, I can understand that thought process a lot more than writing for the market. Because you're writing for the market anyway, but yeah.
If I was trying to make a living, I would write for the American market. I'd probably write rom-com or, obviously there's darker ones that sell better than rom-com. But I mean, sweet romance does very well. I do sweet romance set in America. But I think that my passion would die because it's not me. I want to write for the South African market, even though there are a lot of obstacles to actually making money out of the South African market. And you kind of do need money. I want to translate my books, it costs money. You want to have a website and do all these things, you do need some sort of income to sustain the hobby, but I would never be able to do the right to market. I think it's a bit soul destroying.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think it comes back to that thing again of, you know, do you feel the presence of God while you're doing it, and do you kind of get that joy of like you're sitting with God and you're doing something together, and it's quite an exciting ride. And you know, I think, as you say, when it becomes a formula and just, well, I'm just writing in order to try and get the money, and I'm just trying to hook in the audience, and it kind of becomes a bit hollow, I think. And I think for a lot of us who are writing as Christian writers and Christian creatives, I think there's always at the back of our minds that there's a deeper purpose, and it isn't just about, you know, who can we hook in and who will enjoy our plot lines and that sort of thing. And I suppose in that is like, actually for your books, what do you find is the main, like, do you have a main theme that goes through the books, a main kind of faith theme? Do you include sort of Bible verses, or do you leave it quite, not covert, but do you kind of leave it up to the readers to work it out in terms of where the faith story is, or are you quite upfront on that? And then, you know, what other themes are you wanting people to draw out of what you've written?
So I write characters that are on a journey with God. And whether that's they don't know him at all, or they've been very hurt by life and have turned away from, or they just find themselves in a very difficult situation. So my books always have the thread of the faithfulness of God, no matter what you go through. And because my characters generally go through a very tough time, characters are very receptive to the Lord when they are suffering. So that is a way to get your character to listen to God. Is when they are suffering, they open their ears a bit more. So the faithfulness of God is the thread that runs through it all, and there's always the happy ending, and there's always the redemption arc of the character seeing Jesus as he really is. And that's my heart for my readers, is that they will see Jesus more clearer, and that they will be closer to him by the end. So whatever that looks like for them, if they've had any sort of pain, trauma, any sort of thing where they've seen Jesus maybe in a different light, you know, I think that is definitely the goal in the book.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. And do you think that people who have no kind of Christian background, or you know, they're not churchy or whatever, do you think people who don't know Christian fiction and aren't from those kind of circles, are your books ones to recommend to people who haven't kind of, you know, grown up in church and stuff, or do you think that they're more aimed to Christians who have maybe, as you say, kind of been struggling through some things?
That depends on the book. I've got a 3-book series, the one set in the Drakensberg, which does get quite theologically deep, but it does also have the suspense, and there's enough to keep people who are not Christians interested and entertained. I do normally include a handful of scriptures because my characters, they cry out to God. They're desperate, they pray, a scripture will come to mind. So I do use scriptures. I have not been criticized for having faith in my books. I have been criticized by very religious types for my characters who sin.
Okay.
Because yes, we don't.
Yay!
So that's actually where any criticism comes from. Yes, one character checking out another character's legs or something like that.
Oh my goodness, real people, what?
I know. Problem. I'm very encouraged when I read the Bible and I see all the things that happened in there.
Yeah.
It's an X-rated
way
book.
way worse than the kind of things that we would ever sit and write down.
Yeah.
So,
Go read Song of Solomon. There you go.
Yeah.
I'd say they seem fine. They seem okay.
Very good. So, where can people get hold of the new book and also all of your other books?
So currently Amazon is the place, but I am working on getting the printed books to South Africa, and that is hopefully going to be in the next couple of months. Anna's smiling because she's hoping the same thing for herself. We have a hopeful plan where you'll be able to buy the books off Take-A-Lot and have them printed in South Africa for a sort of regular price,
Yeah.
not the crazy prices that have been on there, and have local postage. That's the plan, so I'm looking forward to that. But at the moment, Amazon's the place.
Great. Well, thank you, Ashley, for joining us for a bit of a roundabout conversation. That's been really enjoyable. I've really enjoyed just hearing, you know, the heart behind the stories that you write, and kind of how it started for you as being an outlet for homesickness, but actually it's become something that as readers take on the stories, it's actually become something that can encourage them just to walk closer to God, to discover Jesus for who he really is, and not to be intimidated by the fact that we're not perfect people, and that he accepts us just as we are, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Definitely. Thanks so much
Good.
for having me.
Thanks so much. It's been so fun talking to you.
Yes.
Nice to get to know you
It's
better,
been really
Carol.
great, and we'll add your links and all of that sort of stuff when we share the episode.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much for joining us today, and we can't wait to chat with you again soon. So get your cuppas ready and come and join us.